In this video, we are going to find each power of I. Before watching this video, make sure that you have memorized the first four powers of I. I to the first power is I to the second power is -1, I to the third power is -I, and I to the fourth power is 1. Okay, so let's look at our first problem. We have I raised to the 17th power, and we want to find the power of I and simplify. So what we're going to do is we're going to take I and rewrite it as I to the fourth, all raised to the fourth power, times I to the first. Now, if you need to sort of work through how to rewrite it, you can think of it this way. If you take, I'm going to come over here and write it out to the side. If you take 17 divided by 4, you will say how many times does 4 go into 17? Well, 4 goes into 17 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16, and we have a remainder of 1. So the 4 here at the top is what you're going to write on the outside, and the remainder is what you're going to write for this second I, okay? So when you rewrite it like that, you can say, well, I to the fourth is just 1, right? And I to the first is just I. Well, 1 to the fourth is just 1, and I is just I. So we get I, okay? And that is how you do the first problem. Now let's look at our second problem. We have I to the 10th plus 7. Again, I'm going to take 10 and divide it by 4. So 4 goes into 10 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8, and we have a remainder of 2. So we're going to write I as I to the fourth, all raised to the second power, times I squared, okay? So this first 2 is written out here, and the second 2 is written for this second I, okay? So now we can say I to the fourth is just 1. I squared is -1. So we have -1. Okay, now all I did was I rewrote I to the 10th, but we also have plus 7, right? So we need to be adding plus 7 to all of this, right? So -1 plus 7 is 6. Okay? And that is how you do the second problem. Now let's look at our third problem. We have 3i to the 5th minus 2i cubed. So I'm just going to rewrite I to the 5th as I to the 4th times I. And I'm going to say, well, I cubed is just -I, right? So we have 2 times -I. All right? So I to the 4th is just 1. So we have 3 times 1 times I minus, well, we have a -2 times a -I, so that becomes a positive, right? So we have plus 2. Plus 2i, right? Okay, so 3 times 1 times I is 3i. And then we have plus 2i, and 3i plus 2i